Thank you for joining this city presentation, Creating Content and Lessons Using Adobe Spark.
Okay, creating a lesson using Adobe Spark. What we're going to be doing today is just sort of doing an overview of Adobe Spark, what it can do for you in your course, how you can use it to integrate different media, and then be able to work up a short presentation or an assignment with your Spark, with the Spark page. So Adobe Spark is available on your Creative Cloud. So for those of you that don't have access, you will need to have the Creative Cloud downloaded onto your computer. And what the Creative Cloud is a series of Adobe apps. It'll be 23 different programs with Adobe Spark being one of them, okay? And I'll show you in a minute what it looks like once you get that, you're able to log into your Adobe Spark, okay? So if you look at the page that says creating a lesson using Spark, if you look at the top of the page, where you saw the settings preview present, over to the left, you'll see that you have an SP. That is your Adobe Spark app. This presentation that I have here for you today is done in Spark. Okay. So let's start with creating a lesson. The first thing I have for you today, Adobe Spark is essentially a presentation tool, and it allows for a scrolling web look for anything that you're putting together. So you can use this for a course presentation, a lecture presentation, content presentation, or you can use it as an assignment presentation. And it can be a platform for your students to give you an assignment to work with, because they have access to the Creative Cloud and to this app as well as you. It's very easy to use, and the learning curve is very simple, which is why within this hour session, I'm going to have you be able to create and upload multiple media within a web page for Adobe Spark, and you should be able to put this together pretty easily. This is about as easy as it gets as far as these Adobe apps are. Okay. To begin with, let me just go over a couple of content points as we're creating. Sorry, moving things around for you. Okay, in order to use this, we're going to, in order to present, you'll have to add content on your content page, and that's a very easy step. Some of the content that I'm going to demonstrate for you here in a second are going to be photograph content, which will look like this, a simple photograph. And notice this look. I'll show you in a minute, but this is what's called a glide page. If you set up a web page, you'll have a glide page that you can simply scroll through like this. Okay, you'll have a background picture here and then smaller pictures here. I'll show you that in a second. You can embed video into your presentation. I can use a button for the presentation, or add any pictures or text, bullets, that sort of thing. One drawback about about using Adobe Spark is that it is limited in its text and formatting. Basically, you get one or two types of text, and that's it. So you can't get too fancy there. But oftentimes that's overcome by just what you can get as far as the glide show is concerned. So let's go ahead and let's start by demonstrating simple content. And I am going to go first of all, I'm going to back up and I'm going to show you how to get started. Once you get your Adobe Spark, you're going to get a page and you'll see these plus signs on it. Okay, the plus signs mean add. It's just like in Canvas. If you are in a general page, you hit a plus and it will give you these options. Is everybody able to see these options? Photo, text, button, video, photo grid, and glide show, and split layout.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go over each of these options for you, because that will have to do with the look of your slide. Okay. Photo is simply adding a picture. And if I touch on that, then it goes over to this menu where it will ask me if I want to upload a photo. That's from your own collection. It gives me an option for free photos. Those are free use photos that we can use. We also have Adobe Stock, and then other places where you may have photos stored or what have you, mostly Adobe. Let me come back to that and show you how the photos are uploaded, okay? So I'm going to X that out. I'm going to go back to my options, and I have text. Text is just that. Yeah, you can do text in several different ways. Notice I told you that we had some limits with this, and here are the limits that we have. I can have a heading 1, that would be that, a heading 2, which is slightly smaller, a quote. This, with the red line next to it, is what the quote looks like. These are bullet points. These are number points. I can bold my text, I can italicize it, I can add a link to it, and then of course here is the alignment. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Oops, went the wrong way. When we write generally, it's just going to look like that. So it's pretty plain. Not a lot of bells and whistles, but you have your basic headers. Okay. A button. A button is just that. It's a button for your hyperlink. And when we add a button, you put the name of the button, and you know, it's just a place for you to jet off of the presentation to go somewhere. So for instance, if you want to reference something or put something into a presentation for students to access, you can put the hyperlink in for that. Works like about all buttons will, and I can align it to the left, in the middle, or to the right. I am not going to use a button here, but instead go back and go to video. Your video is embedded. Now notice the look right here. When I'm simply embedding a photograph or simply embedding video in a standard page, that is outside of a glide show, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Notice how it just simply forms an inline block in the page. Now I can modify it to stretch across the page if I want to, or to be framed. There's a couple of options that I have, but basically it's just kind of inline. It's an inline type of object. To add embedded video, I would put, as you see here, the hyperlink, and that would be to the YouTube, to the Vimeo, or whatever server that you're using for the video, and it will embed. And I had an example there of an embedded video in the glide show. There's an embedded video. It'll look like that, but of course you saw that it's much bigger when it's not inside of a glide show. Once again, I'll get to this glide show in a second. Next option here, photo grid. Now, photo grid and a glide show are your next two options, and let me discuss the difference. If you are creating a photo grid, what it will ask you to do, and this is a section of your presentation, okay? This will be a section of the presentation. So if you're doing a photo grid, it will ask you to upload photographs to use in it. I can upload 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 photographs, and it will arrange them in a grid, okay? And that's exactly what you get. You see this little middle arrangement of kind of an example of 3 photographs. That's kind of what you'll get. It'll be kind of a montage of photographs right there. And you will pick your photos the same way you do for any photograph by uploading your own, going to the free use photographs, using Adobe stock, or looking for it in some other place that you may have. Once you upload those photos, make sure you save them out, and it will give you your photo grid. And then within the photo grid, you can add text overlapping the photos, okay? Now, let me cancel out of that one. The glide show is something that I recommend for your flowing presentations, okay? What the glide show does that's different than the photo grid is it asks for you to upload photographs, a series of photographs, and then within the photographs, you can embed a whole other slide, okay? So, you know, I can choose to upload 2 or 3 photographs that become background photographs as I'm gliding over different content material, okay? So let me cancel out of this and show you my glide show. Once again, this is an example of a glide show. This was my background photograph I put in, and then it gives me this content window to be able to add basically the same type of slide material. So I can have groupings of material that is glided through and moves on out. So there's a second part. That's my second photograph. This is the second part of the glide that comes up. Okay. Finally, another thing that I recommend is the split layout. Split layout is very simple. It simply has a picture on one side and then your content or text on the other. Okay. So I put a big picture right here of something that's relevant, and then I can add photographs, text, I can add the button, I can add the embedded video right here on this side. Okay. It's good for comparison contrast. It's good for, you know, establishing, you know, emphasis or relevance, that sort of thing. Okay. So those are the elements that we have within the show. I'm going to check my text one more time. My chat room, sorry, rather. And we look pretty good. So let me just proceed with the presentation here. So as I said, creating any of this is pretty simple. Sorry, I had a quick question here. Once you've had it downloaded, once everything is downloaded, how will you receive it? Once you download your Creative Cloud and you get that squared away, if you go down, if you go into your computer, you should have a Creative Cloud icon. And the Creative Cloud icon, let me just try to share this. Okay, now can everybody see my Creative Cloud desktop, which will say work on the web?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. This, if you look at the top left, you'll see that Creative Cloud icon, the little red thing. That is going to be what this will look like in your programs. And when you click on that, it opens up this page, which can give me access to all of the Creative Cloud apps. Now, to find Spark, if you look at the top of the All Apps section, I have desktop apps, mobile apps, and then my web apps. The desktop apps in Creative Cloud are going to be your things like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, XD Lightroom, Premiere Rush, Premiere Pro. By the way, I'm developing a Premiere Rush workshop, which I hope to do next week. I can schedule it. If you go to the top and look over to the right, you see web. These are apps where everything is contained on the web. By the way, one thing about Spark, you're completely in the cloud. This isn't saving to your desktop, so you have everything saved up in the cloud with Spark. Okay. And if I look over here, you see the SP and Spark. Hit launch, and that opens up my Spark page. Okay. While we're at this point, let me just jump off the presentation and let's go to what it will look like once we log into our Spark. So I'm going to go up here. I'm in my presentation, but I'm going to go to my Spark home app, behind my home locator, and go hit home. And it takes me here. So this is what it looks like when I go to my Spark page. It gives me my recent projects. It gives me templates I can work with. Here's my create a new project, and so on and so forth. By the way, I won't take a lot of time to talk about this because I want you to get started with Spark right now, but we do have branding available. It's a few simple steps in a process, but you can brand your Sparks for Winston-Salem State just by uploading the seal. So it gives you a little Winston-Salem State insignia for your course presentations. But let me just mention a few things while I'm in the page. If you'll look at the top, you'll see that it has some templates for Instagram story, post, Facebook cover, photo collage, presentation. Because Spark was designed as a web product, it covers a lot of social media, applications for social media. So what this means is you have templates that are able to work across different mediums. And that's going to be a big advantage for you, depending on what kind of assignment you want. And I'm thinking about this for the students. If you're going to give an assignment to a student and you're using a presentation form for your course, they may design their assignment in ways that incorporate other other mediums of communication, other digital mediums, and that's that Instagram post, that's that Facebook cover, that sort of thing. If I hit Create Project, you'll see that I have all of these examples to choose from to start my project. It gives me a flyer. That's just a one-page thing, by the way, with the flyer. An Instagram post, and you know what that is. That's going to be a square photo. Facebook cover, photo collage, web page, just a video, branded graphic, custom size graphic. Now, from my perspective, and that's more from the sake of giving a presentation perspective, and I'm thinking that many of you, from an instructional standpoint, may have the same needs. I like web page and video. Web page probably 90% of the time, or if I can make up statistics, 80 to 90% of the time, right? The web page, I think, is the most useful for a straight presentation mode. It has multiple slides, multiple presentation format. Video is strictly video, okay? It is the web page that I am using for my presentation now that gives me all of the flexibility that I'm demonstrating to you for the glide shows and everything, okay? So just to keep that in mind. Let me go back to my presentation, and that's this, creating a lesson, which I go and I click. And yes, once again, I do have this in edit mode, and the reason that I put my this Spark in edit mode is so I can demonstrate these things for you, okay? So let's do individual content here. Okay, so adding content is easy. So when I want to add content, all I have to do is look for the plus button. Now, what I did here is I have gone to a glide show format. That's what I demonstrated to you before, adding a glide show. And when I did the glide show, I uploaded a couple of photographs that form these background photographs that you'll see here. That's 1, and this is 2, and then I ended it. So for each of the photographs I uploaded, it gave me this glide that goes inside of it. So that's an effective way of doing material inside of one background. So to add content within that or within anywhere, I go to the plus signs, I hit the plus sign, and these are the options that it will give me within the glide show. Add a photograph, add text, add the button, and add the video. Now I've already showed you what you can do with each of these and what it looks like, but I want to further detail a video and photograph for you, okay? I go to add photograph, and this is what it looks like when I add a photograph. It simply gives me the photograph in there, okay? It allows me the option of adding a caption to it. And I chose this photograph from Adobe stock. And the Adobe stock are just available photographs, but I also can do free photos. So let me jump to free photos. Over here on the right, you'll see that I had a menu that came up, and it will ask me to search. So if we want to search, let's do Adobe, see what they offer free. So this is what comes up when I type in Adobe for my search. And these will all be free use photographs. If you find what you want, then you choose one. If you don't find what you want, you can always go back. Let me go back, and I'm going to hit Adobe Max just to see if I can find something. Oh, good, we have a speaker. Okay, that's not really a speaker. What is he doing? I don't know if I found anything really good. So let's be more general for the general photographs. Online learning. That looks relevant. So let's say I find what I want. I click on the photograph that's there, and it simply appears right here with the ability to add a caption. Okay? Any questions about adding photograph? I'm going to delete this photograph here, and I'm going to click the plus sign again, and let's look at video. Now, video is simple. It will ask you to embed a video link. Now, I'll need to have the link from Vimeo or YouTube to be able to add to this. I save the link in there and it will embed that video there. So for using this Spark, you will need to have your video off another server. You can't upload video, okay? So bear that in mind. Let me cancel that out because it's fairly simple. Once we put in that link, the video will embed, and this is an example of what it'll look like, okay? The button. Once again, the button is simply that. It's just a link to a URL. If I click on this button, it will take me to the URL off in a different tab, okay? You'll see when I click on it right here that I can either edit it, and then it gives me the name of the URL, and then the link right here. I never named this one. Let's call it that's what I was doing. There. So once you type in that information, you click here. When I click on the button, it will take me to a different tab. So bear in mind, it takes you off to a different tab. It won't transform the window, okay? Just remember, anytime you want to add content, look for the plus signs. They will be at the bottom of the page, okay? There's your example right there. This presentation here I will send to you, by the way, the Spark presentation. I'll send you the link to it after the presentation. Okay, a few words about the photos. When choosing photos, whenever you pick a photo, let me just show you on the right. On the right, you will see the photos come up, and this was the example that I have, and it asks you to find free photos, or, oops. There we go. It will ask you to upload a photo of your own or find free photos, Adobe stock, and so on and so forth. You can do a search for all of these. If you're using the free photos and if you're using Adobe stock, it will automatically attribute these pictures for you. So in other words, it comes with your reference. And the references will appear at the bottom of your presentation. Oh, well, it appears the bottom presentations once I'm presenting. I'll do that in a second for you and show you, okay? Videos. Once again, you have to embed the videos from an outside platform. You cannot upload them into the Spark page. You can upload them, though, using Rush and using some of the other Adobe apps. But this one is strictly a cloud product. This, by the way, is a picture that I meant to show you before. If I'm choosing just to put an inline picture, if I want to stretch it across the screen, I can use it to stretch across the screen. So if I want to have a whole picture to demonstrate, I can show it like that. And then this is an example of the photo grid. I just have it in a 3 across arrangement. Okay, so if I just want sort of comparison pictures or just sort of a montage, I can organize them in different ways. One thing that, and this, by the way, is your side-by-side example right here. One thing that is very strong in Adobe Spark, especially as a presentation tool, is its ability to mix digital modes. And you can have different demonstrations side by side. Here's a photograph, here's text. These are all digital modes that I'm demonstrating here. And excuse me for 1 minute, I have somebody logging in. Okay, sorry about that. We can choose a variety of different of contents here. So I have text. Once again, I said we're limited on our text. I have embedded video, and so on and so forth. So, if you want to have one place where you can go and you can have a couple of different ways of viewing a situation or ways of demonstrating a certain demonstration, you can put that all into one place with your Adobe show. Okay. Now, at the end of this presentation, and once again, I'm going to send you this out, but I have also embedded a quick primer on how to use Adobe Spark. It's a start to finish sort of demonstrating a YouTube video that's out there for you. I have that in this presentation as well in case we miss something. But I want to go back to the top here and show you a couple of things. And the first one is the present form and the share. Let me go ahead and start with the share because that's what I'm going to do. And I just had a question from Dr. Monell about using these presentations within Canvas. When you create a presentation within Spark, it's going to create a link. So I put this, notice how it says I have to update the link. That's because I had some demonstrations in there that I added, so it'll ask me to update, but I don't want to do that because I've got to clean those out for the link that I'm going to send. But it just asked me to copy the link, and that's the link that I get that will take anybody to this page to see. Notice how, once again, I said that this was designed as an online application with social media in mind. Notice how it has quick links to Twitter, Facebook, email, and then of course here's the embed button right here, Jack, that we can use. Okay, I'm not going to do this right now, but I just wanted to show you that. I want to go to present. That's my branding, the Winston-Salem State University. When I go to present, notice how it allows me, excuse me, I've got to move some stuff here. Notice how it gives me a presentation view. I can go through it slide by slide, kind of like you're accustomed to with the PowerPoint presentation. I can also glide through it with my roller. And let's get to the end. These were the credits that I promised you for all of the pictures that I used in this presentation. Automatic, I didn't have to put them in. And once again, that's my Winston-Salem State branding that I uploaded. Take it back to the top. And up at the top, it'll allow me full screen or exit the presentation. I X out and I go back to my edit mode and I can add what I want.